The Atlas Post. Well, President Trump signs an executive order as the House and Senate were still in a stalemate on stimulus packages for Americans. And as Washington Examiner correspondent says, according to Fox News, Trump has the upper hand politically after signing the executive order. Of course, Trump announced that he would go around Congress to deliver aid to Americans affected by the pandemic since, well, let's just say Congress was still in a stalemate. So what did he sign? First of all, he signed 4 executive orders. For the executive orders that Trump signed, number 1 was the payroll tax deferral for people earning less than $100,000 per year. And he also called it a payroll tax holiday through the end of the year for Americans earning less than $100,000 while promising more relief if he wins a second term. One of the things I do want to highlight to you is he also mentioned that if elected, they would be permanent tax cuts. But these taxes are what fund Social Security, and Medicare, which they have been talking about, is underfunded. Also, he did do an extension and relief for student loans, as well as protections from evictions for renters and homeowners. And of course, the big hot button was unemployment, a $400 per week supplemental unemployment payment, and didn't specify when it was going to begin or if it was retroactive, but that this compares to the $600 which was previously given, and also states have to cover 25% of the amount. So let's get to what actually happened on each of these executive orders. According to CNN Politics, for the unemployment benefits, remember we said that the states had to chip in 25%. Well, under Trump's measure, the federal government is requiring states to pick up the tab for 25%. So, for example, $100 of the as much as $400 additional benefit each person may be able to receive in weekly aid. On top of that, a state must agree to enter into this financial agreement with the federal government for any unemployed person living there to get any of the additional benefits. And then earlier tonight, Trump said he was open to allowing people to get the enhanced benefit without states picking up some of the cost, and said it was possible that the federal government could pick up the entire cost if governors make a request. And a lot of that has to do with some of these states, their unemployment coffers are exhausted. So it depends on what they have. Oh, here it mentions it here. States are in dire financial straits. Yes, they are. It also says, in fact, states have asked Congress to provide them with an additional $500 billion to help shore up their budgets, which have been crushed by the loss of tax revenue and the pandemic. Because they need a new system, and few will be helped. Interesting. Evictions. This was really important because this eviction moratorium expired as of the end of the month. A lot of the states or communities, actually more communities, have come up with their own solutions. But on this, it says executive action does not reinstate the previous moratorium on evictions, which lapsed in July. The original ban covered mortgages which were backed by federal funds, and the nonprofit Urban Institute has estimated that the moratorium covered just over 12 million households. So in this, it's to note that no money is set aside to help homeowners and renters, just like before no money was set aside. The action calls for the Housing and Urban Development and Treasury Secretaries to identify any and all federal funds to provide temporary financial assistance to renters and homeowners who are struggling to pay their rents. So I don't know how I mean, before they basically said you couldn't get evicted. Here it says a new measure only states that the Secretary of Health and Human Services and the Director of the CDC shall consider whether any measures temporarily halting residential evictions of any tenants for failure to pay rent are reasonably necessary to prevent the spread of COVID-19. The payroll tax. Now, this is the one that has got a lot of people up in arms. It says a payroll tax. It's a deferral, not a cut. And it doesn't actually reduce the payroll taxes. It defers the due date for the portion of those taxes paid by the employees. So 6.2% for Social Security and 1.45% for Medicare through December 31st. It applies to workers whose wages are less than $4,000 on a biweekly basis, or about $104,000 a year. Okay. But the payroll taxes are still due. They would just have been delayed to the end of the deferment period, and companies may not want to stop withholding the employee's share of the taxes from the paychecks for that reason. Student loans, it gives them an additional 3 months, because before the loan payments are paused and interest is suspended on federally held student loans until September 30th. And now they're giving them, I believe, they're giving them till the end of the year. You can expect much more regarding this week, as there have been rumblings about this being unconstitutional for the president to go ahead and do this. Well, let's just hope that Congress can get there in gear to go ahead and make this happen. But thank you for joining us, and please take a moment to give us a thumbs up if you like this, or share this with a friend. Subscribe, of course, to receive more updates regarding stimulus payments, unemployment, SBA loans, including the PPP and EIDL. Please enjoy our playlist, and thanks for supporting our channel on Patreon, as well as Buy Me a Coffee. You can also help us out by sharing our videos, liking them, yes, making comments, checking out our playlist, and subscribing for the latest updates. Tap into your news with the Atlas Post, and have a joyful day.